Welcome back to CBS News election headquarters in New York. It is 7:30 p.m. in the East, and polls have just closed in 3 more states, including one of the 7 key battleground states we are laser focused on. You can see them all right here in purple. In North Carolina, just closed, CBS News characterizes this race as a toss-up. In Georgia, which closed half an hour ago, CBS also characterizes this race as a toss-up. There's just too many votes still not in yet. Let's take a look at some of the other polls that just closed. We have new results to share as well. In West Virginia, CBS News projects Donald Trump wins. The former president won the state in 2020 easily, winning every county in the states, and he has won again this year. In Ohio, CBS News characterizes Ohio as lean Republican. Remember, Ohio was once a battleground, but it has shifted right over the last few election cycles. Now let's take a look at Indiana. CBS News projects Donald Trump will win the Hoosier state. Remember, that was home to his Vice President Mike Pence. And in the all-important race to 270 electoral votes, Donald Trump currently has 23 and Kamala Harris has 3. As you can see, the night is young. And we have some breaking results to share with you from the states that just closed. In Florida, once an electoral battleground that has moved right in recent circles, CBS News projects Trump will win the Sunshine State. In Alabama, CBS News projects Trump will win this race. Trump carried Alabama by large margins in the past 2 elections. And in reliably blue Massachusetts, CBS News projects the Vice President, Kamala Harris, will win. Let's take a look now at Maryland. CBS News projects Harris will win there. There's a key Senate race. We'll check in there as well. And Oklahoma, CBS News projects Trump will win. Let's take a look now at Tennessee. CBS News projects Trump will win in the state of Tennessee. The big number we've been talking about, 270 electoral votes. That's the number needed to win. And so far, with those early results, the race to 270 shows Donald Trump with 90 electoral votes and Kamala Harris with 27. Let's check in with the 3 battleground states where the polls are closed. In Georgia, CBS News characterizes this race as a toss-up. Look at this. Only 53% of the vote in, even though it's 8:30. You know, the Secretary of State had told us we were going to have more votes in. I'm going to check in with David Becker on that, what's happening. And we'll check in at the Magic Wall. Let's take a look at North Carolina, another important battleground state tonight. Again, it is early in the night, but look at this. It is a toss-up at this hour. New reporting coming in from North Carolina we want to share with you shortly. And then Pennsylvania, the electoral prize of the night. And remember, Pennsylvania takes a little longer to count, but these are the early numbers that are coming in, and CBS News rates this as a toss-up. But we are hearing some interesting things about long lines in Pennsylvania. Some polling places extended, some polling places not extended. We're going to dig into those numbers. Let me also show you these other results just coming in from other states, including one where the polls just closed. In Arkansas, CBS News projects Donald Trump will win in that state. Let's take a look at Missouri. CBS News projects Trump will win there as well. And just in from our data desk, in South Carolina, CBS News projects Trump will win also in that reliably red or Republican state. CBS News projects Kamala Harris will win the District of Columbia, where her election night headquarters are. No surprise there. And 3 electoral votes there. And then in the race for the all-important number of 270 electoral votes, Donald Trump is at 105. Kamala Harris has 27 at this hour. It's 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West. And polls just closed in 15 states with 163 electoral votes, including 6 key battlegrounds where the race for the White House will likely be decided. All eyes are on the 7 battleground states. You can see them here in purple. In Michigan, CBS News rates this as a toss-up. In Wisconsin, CBS News rates the presidential race there as a toss-up. And the same can be said in Arizona. CBS News rates this as a toss-up as well. In Pennsylvania, polls have been closed for an hour in the Keystone State. And you guessed it, CBS News rates this as a, everyone say it, toss-up. And in Georgia, the Peach State, CBS News rates the presidential race as, say it together, toss-up. Yes. And in North Carolina, CBS News rates this as a toss-up as well. So at this hour, the battleground states are all toss-ups. That means the vote is still coming in. It's just too close for us to be able to say what's happening in those states. But we've got lots of data to share with you from the exit polls. First, though, let's take a look at some of the other states that have just closed. CBS News projects Donald Trump will pick up North Dakota. The former president also projected to win in South Dakota. The Mount Rushmore state is reliably Republican in presidential elections. And in Wyoming, CBS News projects Donald Trump will win there as well. Let's take a look at the great state of Texas. CBS News projects Donald Trump will win in Texas. We'll have an update on this big Senate race there in just a minute, where Ted Cruz is facing a tough race there. And then Iowa is characterized at this hour as lean Trump. Remember, there had been that stunning poll out of Iowa recently that suggested Kamala Harris gaining ground among older women. And the big number to remember tonight is 270. That's the number of electoral votes someone needs to win. So far, the race to 270 shows Donald Trump with 154 electoral votes and Kamala Harris with 27. Those big numbers from Donald Trump, in part because of the calling of Florida and Texas. Of course, when states like New York or California or other big electoral prizes come through, if they go for Kamala Harris, that will add to her vote tally as well. Welcome back to CBS News Election Headquarters. It's 9:30 p.m. in the East, 6:30 in the West. And in the race to 270, Donald Trump has 162. Kamala Harris, 62. We're going to check in with the battleground states. Here's a look at the blue wall states. CBS News projects them all as toss-ups at this hour. And then let's go to the Sun Belt. Also toss-ups at this hour. Nevada, there's no tally there because Nevada does not close until 10 p.m. Eastern, so we'll check in there as well. CBS News projects Donald Trump will win Louisiana. Voters in the Bayou State have chosen a Republican for president since 2000. CBS News projects Rhode Island for Harris, and CBS News projects New York for Harris, which will add significantly to her electoral vote tally.
CBS News, America Decides, Election 2024. Here again, Norah O'Donnell.
Welcome back to CBS News Election Night Headquarters in New York. It is 10 p.m. in the East, 7 p.m. in the West, and polls just closed in 3 more states, including a key battleground. Here's where we stand at the hour in the race to 270. Donald Trump has racked up early wins in Florida, Texas, and other red states. And so you can see he has 172 electoral votes, Kamala Harris 81. We're still watching these 7 battleground states. You can see them all here in purple. The polls just closed in Nevada, and CBS News rates it as a toss-up, along with every single other one of the battleground states that we've been watching closely. And so there's lots to still learn about how America decides and who they've chosen as the 47th president of the United States. But now, at this hour, all of the battleground states have closed, and we're going to be checking in on those to see what more we can learn, new exit poll information, new data from inside those states. Quickly, let's take a look at these new projections in Utah. CBS News projects Donald Trump will win. And CBS News projects the former president will also win in Montana. Montana has voted for a Republican in the last 12 of 13 presidential elections. Key Senate race there that we also are going to be watching closely tonight. And in Delaware, President Joe Biden's home state, CBS News projects Kamala Harris will win in that state. And let's take a look at Illinois. CBS News projects Harris will win there as well. Chicago was home to the Democratic National Convention this summer, where the vice president accepted her party's nomination. Welcome back to CBS News coverage of Election Night 2024. Just in from the CBS News data desk, CBS News projects Donald Trump will win the state of Ohio, the home of his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance. And in the state of Mississippi, CBS News projects Donald Trump wins there as well in Mississippi. Also, CBS News projects Kamala Harris will pick up Colorado's 10 electoral votes. And in the hunt for 270 electoral votes, Donald Trump has 195. Kamala Harris has 91. The former president racking up a number of big electoral wins with Texas and Florida early in the night. But as you can see, a number of states have still not been called. And in those key 7 battleground states, we have rated each of those as toss-up at this hour. But first, CBS News projects that Iowa is for Trump, that the former president has won the state of Iowa. You see just a little bit more than half the vote in there. There had been that poll by the Des Moines Register suggesting that she was doing much better than expected. But Iowa, a reliably Republican state there, and those 6 electoral votes now in the Republican column. And we're coming on the air with some breaking news in Georgia. CBS News now rates the presidential race there as lean Trump. This is the first of the 7 battleground states that we are rating as lean one way or the other. And at this hour, we rate it as lean Republican. We'll be checking in on the battleground states throughout the night, but we also want to give you results from western states where polls just closed. In California, Vice President Harris's home state, CBS News projects that she will win there. In Idaho, CBS News projects Trump will win. And over 5 decades, Idaho has supported a Republican for the presidency. And here is where we stand right now in the race to 270, shows Donald Trump with 211 electoral votes and Kamala Harris with 145, a number of states still to be called. It is 11:30 p.m. in the East, 8:30 p.m. in the West, and polls are now closed across the lower 48 United States. Let's check in on the race to 270 electoral votes. That's the number needed to win the White House. Here is where we stand right now. As you see, Donald Trump has 211, Kamala Harris 165. And part of those electoral votes include 2 new CBS News projections, Oregon and Washington State, both for the vice president. And in those all-important battleground states, you can see all 7 are in purple. In Georgia, CBS News now rates the presidential race there as lean Republican. And in North Carolina, CBS News now rates the race as lean Republican. Let's take a look at Pennsylvania, part of that blue wall the Democrats say a must-win for the vice president. CBS News rates this race as toss-up. In Michigan, CBS News rates this race as a toss-up. The Secretary of State there telling us they could have the vote counted by midnight. That doesn't mean we'll understand or know what that full vote is, but that could come quickly. And Wisconsin, CBS News rates this race as a toss-up at this hour. Let's check in on more of the Sun Belt states, including Arizona. Just about half the vote there in Arizona. Look how close it is, those prized 11 electoral votes. It is a toss-up at this hour. And then Nevada. Again, the vote, not enough of the vote yet in, but we rate that as a toss-up at this hour. And we have a CBS News projection for the battleground state of North Carolina and its 16 electoral votes. We can project that Trump will win North Carolina That is a state that he won in 2020 and 2016. And the Tar Heel state, the last time it went to a Democrat was Barack Obama in 2008. It was a very narrow win for him. Of course, he had a blowout victory in 2008, and so he was able to carry North Carolina. But that was a surprise to many people. So this was a must-win state, I think, for President Trump, and he has delivered today in part by turning out strong supporters in rural areas, just as he did in Virginia and other states, as we are seeing tonight. That is where his base is. So that moves Donald Trump to 227 electoral votes. Stand by. We have a CBS News projection for the battleground state of Georgia and its 16 electoral votes. We can project that that Donald Trump is the projected winner in the state of Georgia at this hour. Our first projected winner of the night, Georgia, for Donald Trump.
The first flip.
The first flip, as we know that Joe Biden won Georgia 4 years ago. In the blue wall states, CBS News rates Wisconsin as lean Republican, and that leaves Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And CBS News rates all 4 of those battleground states as toss-up at this hour. And just in, CBS News projects Kamala Harris will win the state of New Mexico. That is an expected win for the Democrats, although Donald Trump did pay a last-minute visit to that state, hoping to eke out a victory. CBS News has a new projection for the battleground state of Pennsylvania and its 19 electoral votes. CBS News projects that Donald Trump will be the winner of the state of Pennsylvania. That is a state that Biden carried 4 years ago, but Trump won in 2016, a major projection, and that essentially closes the pathway for Kamala Harris and the presidency. We could have some news shortly about whether Donald Trump has officially reached the threshold to be named the next president-elect of the United States. We have not heard from Vice President Kamala Harris. Her campaign co-chair spoke to supporters saying go home for the night. And CBS News now projects that Donald Trump is the winner in Wisconsin. That gives him the number of electoral votes he needs to become the 47th president of the United States. This is an incredible moment in American history for Donald Trump, who faced a number of challenges in this contest. It was an election unlike any of us have ever covered.
A life unlike any we've ever covered. This man, Donald John Trump, born in Jamaica, Queens, New York City. We are here in Manhattan. And so many of his friends have always said his goal in life was to cross the river from the outer boroughs to Manhattan. Well, he has crossed the river again to the presidency tonight, winning the presidency, as CBS News projects. This will usher in potentially an unprecedented era in American history, to have someone who believes firmly that he has total presidential power in terms of official acts based on the Supreme Court ruling earlier this year, does not have to serve in prison despite being convicted in a criminal trial, and despite pressuring his own vice president to overturn an election, has been warmly embraced by the party, the Republican Party, once again, and won the presidency based on our CBS News projection. And he is willing and able and ready and excited, I'm told by sources close to him, and including by him himself, to return to the White House and wield power on immigration, foreign policy, the economy, the executive branch.
We also want to bring you now some breaking news. CBS News can project at this point that he has become the winner of Michigan and those electoral votes. That, again, part of that blue wall. Again, at this point, a projection from CBS News that is happening right now. Former President Donald Trump, the projected winner, of Michigan.
All 15 of those electoral votes going towards the former president. And we were just talking about that blue wall completely crumbling. We could see it was going this way towards Donald Trump. We now have that confirmation. The Harris Walz campaign did not get a single blue wall state outside of, what are we looking at here? Maybe Minnesota. But it's a tough go for the Democrats, a strong showing for the Republicans here. Again, Donald Trump projected to win Michigan.
We have some breaking election news. Just in the last 6 hours, President-elect Donald Trump won the state of Nevada, and that brings the Electoral College vote to 301 for Trump and 226 for Vice President Kamala Harris. Trump already won the election early Wednesday morning when he passed the needed 270 votes to win. But this particular win is important because of its voting history. Nevada is a state that's voted Democratic for the past 4 presidential elections.
Also, the Associated Press has called their final presidential result, declaring Donald Trump the winner of the state of Arizona. And with this, the final electoral count is Trump with 312 and Harris with 226.